Hello. You're listening to the Crack Podcast. But this episode is going to be a little bit different from the usual. This one isn't just going to be me sitting solo, talking about what's happening in my little orbit, amusing myself like a budgie in a cage with its wee mirror. No, this episode is myself and a guest, Mr. Drew Stacey. Drew's a co-worker of mine who generously gave up some of his time and came round to the flat to talk about a project that he has coming up. We've been working together for a few years now and we're on the same team. So we're in each other's company for 48 hours a week. Okay? So you talk a lot on those shifts. Now, he's been talking about this at work occasionally for a good wee while, and I have this podcast, so mix it together. Here's what you get. He has something to talk about, and I have this platform for, talking on. Now, I do believe that this is his first podcast appearance, and I do think he comes across great on it. Alright, because I had to go through and edit the whole audio thing. Now he talks a bit about the event he's involved in planning, and he talks a bit about his own music history or his experience. But I won't go into it. I was going to try and keep it suspenseful, but it's probably in the title of the episode. So, right, let's get the intro music lined up here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Crack Podcast, Drew Stacey. I would offer you tea, but I know you don't drink hot drinks.
Nah, water all the way.
I'm not going to make you watch me drink coffee. That's cool. So, very officially, I've got you here today. Very kindly, you've arrived to talk about, well, yourself, your journey, and the event you've got up and coming. Now, to keep the suspense, I've called it the event, but what would you describe it as? It's a music event. I'll say that much, but I'll let you introduce it and describe the happening.
So we've named the event Puls8. We're kind of classing it as a one-day festival, one stage, one-day festival, running from 2 o'clock until 11 o'clock at night. I guess a festival, yeah.
Festival. Now, I've never been to a festival.
Really?
I've never been to Rockness, never been to Belladrum, never been to Tea in the Park. I'm assuming you have.
Yeah, been to a few of us. Obviously been to Belladrum. I think that's like every young person's like go to
rite of passage in this area.
So I've been to Belladrum. I've been to a festival called Terminal V in Edinburgh. I've been going to that since I was like 19. I'm actually going to that this weekend. Mm-hmm. So looking forward to that. And then I've also been to a festival called Fly Open Air. That's also in Edinburgh. And we've got Riverside Festival, which is hosted in Glasgow, down by the Glasgow Riverside Museum. Mm-hmm. So yeah, been going to all them for probably about the best part of like 5 or 6 years.
Now, was it when you were at one of these festivals, was there an epiphany moment of hang on, there's nothing like this where I come from, I want...
So I think, I don't know, obviously... Because I've been doing the kind of like smaller club shows, and like the upstairs Inverness and the Anne Shamar, which is the new venue in Inverness.
The Revolution.
Yeah, where Revolution used to be. Mm-hmm. So I kind of wanted to do it on a bit of a bigger scale. I went to the ice rink. I think I went a couple of years ago, and the CEO Gordon didn't really take me on. I think he just kind of seen it as like a young guy wanting to throw a party, which is probably fair enough. Yeah. But I went back to him like a year later, just kind of said like, don't really have anything like this up in Inverness. I think we could host a really successful day.
Now you're saying you've done your own events, but you performed in Inverness. So just people that don't know what Puls8 is going to be, You're a musician, a DJ. You've been up there.
A DJ, yeah.
DJ,
So I've done like the basics of producing and stuff, but I've never released any of my own tracks. So kind of basic knowledge that I've got. Would like to one day progress into making tracks and releasing tracks, but yeah, I'm not really focusing on that at the moment. But yeah, I've performed in front of obviously quite a lot of crowds in Inverness, just doing my own nights and stuff, being invited onto other nights. So yeah.
No, certainly. I mean, obviously we know each other from working together, but I remember on the Christmas night out, I think it was, folk in Inverness coming up to you and just, and they knew of you and stuff, and it wasn't necessarily friends of yours, it was folk that came over and just said hi, and this guy's knowing. Yeah, it's very cool. But I do understand, again, through talking at work, that it's not just yourself. It's not just you. There's a few other folk involved. Are they also in the music scene locally? Are these just local musicians banding together as like a co-op? But yeah.
So I went to them. So we've got Ross Mackay, who is the manager up the stairs, and Anne Shamar. So I went to him, basically just said, look, I've got this idea, because it's obviously a lot of work running a festival. It's not just like running an event. Can do that by myself, but obviously there's a lot more to putting on a bigger scale kind of festival.
Not just putting up posters.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of went to him and just pitched the idea, and he said that he would love to be involved. And I also, we were saying kind of like not the more the merrier, but we were kind of thinking that we do need somebody else. So I went to our other person who's working with us, Phil McDonald. I'd never actually, I think I'd known him just kind of through Instagram, and he runs his own massive kind of events in the Netherlands, pretty big, does big festivals, and that's under the name Gearbox. So they're more into like the raw style, hard style kind of music. It's a bit different from what I would usually listen to and perform and get artists up to play in Inverness, but obviously I think just using his knowledge with running the bigger events, I thought he'd be an amazing person to have on board. And glad we did ask him, because he's brought a lot to the table. So yeah.
When you say he does the events in the Netherlands, I'm picturing those types of raves. Is it inspired by those types of come-togethers and stuff like that?
As in the Puls8?
Puls8, sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess you could say that there is definitely, I think, obviously using the knowledge that Phil has, it's they're selling out like massive arenas, so they do know how to put on a good party. So we've kind of emphasized that we're not going, we're getting big production and high end production just to make sure it's like a kind of memorable day for everyone. We want everyone to have a really positive experience at it. So it's going to be it's going to be like something Inverness hasn't seen before.
Now, in my absolute ignorance, when you said some of the events he would have organised previously wasn't the type of music you would listen to, what is the music you're bringing in? Because when I left school, dubstep was the massive thing. Is that part of techno, or is it trance? Is it?
So what we've got is we've got 4 different headliners. We've also got a couple smaller acts as well. The main headliners kind of go from like your like tribal techno, hypnotic techno, ranging all the way to your like harder kind of heavy techno. So we've got a female called Lala. She's a Scottish DJ. She mainly focuses in the techno, hypnotic techno, tribal techno that I was talking about. And then we've got an Irish DJ called Yasmin Gardesi. She focuses mainly in like psytrance type stuff. And then we've got another Scottish DJ called Frazier. He's also mainly based predominantly techno. And then we've got Alex Farrell, who is an he's an established DJ now. When I first booked him in Inverness, this was like February last year, he was up and coming, and he's just like doing pretty good things at the moment now.
So when you got him, he was a bit smaller, not so well known, and then boom.
He's massive now. I'm so glad to be bringing him back.
Where's it you find the act? Did you have to put it like is there an agent, or do you just reach out to them and just?
So yeah, you need to do it all through agents. So usually, if you're looking to book an act, you'll go onto their Instagram. They usually got their agents' emails and like managers' emails in their bio. So yeah, you just kind of reach out to them. Sometimes you get a reply, sometimes you don't. You know, some of the managers and agents can be
look down their nose a bit.
Yeah, a bit more difficult than others. Majority of the ones that you work with are completely fine and, you know, really understandable, and, you know, they've always got an open mind to what you're trying to do as well. And I think that was kind of what kind of the catch was for Puls8, was a lot of the agents, you know, it's not been done before in Inverness.
Get in the early days and
Yeah.
it takes off there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was definitely a kind of selling point.
Yeah, do you want to get in early while the getting's good?
Yeah.
Okay. Buying stocks when it's cheap.
Yeah, literally.
More of a sort of personal question, say buying stocks. I'm assuming when you reach out to these musicians, DJs, I don't know exactly what the title, without offending them, I don't know what you know, artists, their agent's going to ask, all right, how much we're talking here? Where are you at the moment getting the how much are we talking here? Do you have to offer them a percentage of the door, or have you had sponsors? How do you get a festival off the ground with no established?
So usually with, you know, getting artists, the agents basically send you an offer sheet, which you will fill out, and you basically just need to kind of give like the dates, you know, all the details, all the relevant details, and then at the bottom it's, you know, what's your offer basically. So you need to put in an offer to them, and they'll come back and tell you if it's too high or too low, and they'll let you know quickly if it is too low.
All right. I should probably say as well, when you say the ice rink in Inverness, that's not a groovy name for a nightclub or anything.
No.
Like that. It's the ice rink.
Literally, it's the Inverness Ice Centre is what we need to say to people, but it's gonna be transformed into a good place for a music event.
Big sort of warehouse type thing, isn't it? Where's the ice going?
So they actually melt it over summer. We were in doing like a content shoot last Tuesday, and they were melting the ice as we were there. So we were kind of hoping that we would be able to get onto it, but it was like the floor was soaking. There was these two guys in big massive welly boots, like scraping all the ice off.
Yeah. What's the capacity for? I mean, the only time I've been in the ice rink, it was to go and pick up my wee sister when she used to get ice skating lessons like 15 years ago, and it was like 20 kids on it. So how many folk can you get in there at once?
So I think legally you can get legally, and the amount of tickets we're selling is you can get 1,600. That's like the safe kind of number. I think we were actually speaking to Gordon, the CEO of the ice rink, again last week, and I'm pretty sure like they used to have like a good like 3,000, 4,000 people in there. They were saying, you know, this was when they were getting bands like The Clash and stuff. Played in the ice rink. I was finding all this out last week.
I didn't know that.
So apparently there used to be like thousands of people. I think obviously back then health and safety wasn't really as big a thing as it is now. We've been
shoulder smoking fags and stuff like that. Of course,
So we've kind of been we've been warned that we can only do 1,600, which we're completely fine with. You know, it's only the first year of us doing it, so don't want to be.
And if you're allowed to tell at this point, what's today's date? Was it April the 15th? Yeah, April the 15th. Have you sold close to that amount of tickets for your capacity? I mean, that's if you're allowed to tell. I don't know how locked down this information is.
So we have sold at the moment. I think we've sold just over I think we just sold just over a third of the tickets. It's obviously when it was first announced, it was like massive news for Inverness, and when the tickets first came out, you know, they just kind of shot up. They've kind of hit a bit of a slow point now, but you expect that. It happens with every single event you do in Inverness. There's always a peak, and then there's a bit of a downfall. It goes quiet for a wee while, and then see like the weeks leading up to the event always shoots up.
You'll get the initial excitement, and then folk waiting to see what their work rota and stuff.
Yeah,
I see. Okay, cool. And have you had folk from far afield messaging? You know, like folk in the islands and things.
We know that there's groups of people from like Glasgow and Edinburgh coming. There's people from Skye coming. I'm not 100% sure about the islands and stuff. And there is a guy who is like super eager. It's like a super eager DJ. I think he's from Orkney. I think he's maybe hoping to come down for it. But that's the only person that I've spoke to who's from the islands anyway.
I wonder if how like the Nordic regions, they've got a massive heavy metal scene over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Just the islands have got this rave scene that's just totally behind it. Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, and so again, my perception of a festival is a massive sort of open field, mud, drunk teenagers and stuff. But then you're hosting it in the ice rink, big warehouse. I'm picturing more of a rave. Is it all contained in the warehouse? Is there food vendors, refreshments? Is it all in this one spot, or does it spread out towards the Aquadome and the park?
We've got, so obviously we're gonna have our initial main stage. We're gonna get big LED screen into the ice rink. The ice rink bar, which they're going to be setting up. So I don't know if you've ever seen from, well, I don't know, maybe through Facebook or whatever.
I think the World Cup finals are maybe shown in there.
Yeah.
I saw photographs of seating laid out and stuff.
So they have the kind of bar up the back of the ice rink, and then it'll obviously be the big open space between the stage and the bar. We're going to have 2 or 3 food vendors, I think, which are going to be in the car park, and then we're hoping to have like a kind of chill out area as well, because obviously it can get pretty
overwhelming at times.
Yeah, pretty intense and overwhelming for people. We're hoping to have like a kind of chill out area, food vendors and stuff outside. So yeah,
and it's one day, you don't need a camping area.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Maybe,
folk will be
not
fine.
yet. Maybe one day.
Yeah, folk in the islands. Just, of course. So they're not, with no camping and things like that, and it being the one day. Do they just turn up, or have you got to book them a hotel? Do you get them a caravan? Have they got a trailer?
So we need to sort out their travel, accommodation. So we're hoping to just put them all in the kind of one hotel, just so it's easier. So yeah, we need to organise all of that, and then we just send it over to their agents. Some of the agencies have like their own travel teams and stuff, so they'll sometimes organise the travel, which makes it a bit easier for us, because sometimes these DJs can be coming from all different parts of the world as they play internationally. So yeah, that's always a bit of a help when they have that. But majority of the time, we're organising it. Yeah.
And have you got some of them like this? Is it the 4 big ones you mentioned? Sorry, so are they coming in fresh from a gig the night before, 2 days before, and then leaving straight away? Are they constantly on a circuit?
Yeah, so we actually reached out about the travel literally the other day, because we were like, better to get it sorted sooner rather than later before prices go up and whatnot. Some of them didn't have dates, like a date locked in, because the Puls8's on the Saturday, so some of them didn't have bookings for the Friday, but you can get last minute bookings and whatnot. So we said we'll hold off for another wee while just in case, because last thing we want to do is book travel and then have to rearrange it from somewhere else. So
have you had any weird demands, like they don't want red M&Ms in the bowl and stuff?
I haven't, not for this event, but we have had. I remember I booked DJs like when I was first kind of starting out doing events. This is like, bearing in mind, this is like my first ever like headliner booking and stuff, and they had like crackers, hummus, bananas, like 24 cans of Red Bull, like bottles of vodka and stuff like that. It was
like proper, again, that was old-fashioned rock star type stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is though, like I did ask them about it. Like I was like, so why, like, have you got all that if it's just the two of yous? And they had basically said that it was for their festival. It was their festival rider, so they obviously take like a bunch of friends to the festival and stuff like that. So it was kind of to sort all them out. They said that they never usually actually know what's on their rider. They just kind of they just kind of go with the flow and expect expect what they're given, take what they're given.
Oh, so I forgot who it was. I think it was maybe Van Halen or one of those bands. But they put like almost silly things near the bottom. I don't know, say it's we want all the cushions rotated at this angle, and if they came in and the dressing room that wasn't done, they would assume the organisers didn't have an eye for detail, and then they wouldn't know if things had been set up correctly. If they want the ramps set the ramps set a certain volume or things like that.
Yeah.
Small wee details and being pernickety.
Yeah.
But did you have to study event management and stuff, or have you just picked this up?
Just kind of picked it up myself.
Fantastic,
doing it. Yeah, I mean, I think like just going to clubs and stuff from, well, probably like from when I was underage, to be honest, arrest me. But yeah, like, I don't know, like just going down to places like Glasgow and stuff, I was just like, I don't know, I went to like my first event and just like absolutely loved it. And I was like, I'd love to do kind of something like this up in Inverness, because obviously, as we know, Inverness isn't, massive. Hasn't got a massive music scene, or it didn't anyway. It's getting bigger now, but yeah, I just kind of went to like my first ever event, and I was like, oh, this is so good. Like, I would love to do my own events.
I need more of this.
Yeah,
Do it myself.
and it's just kind of spiraled from there.
And when word got out that you were doing this locally, if folk locally started coming to you, if you had like the food vendors, for instance, did you have to go to them, or was it like, here we hear you're doing an event?
So we'll be going to the food vendors, but actually not sorted yet. I'm saying we'll have food vendors outside. We've not actually got in touch with anyone yet, but like, yeah, we'll be getting in touch with them. But we have had like so many people, like up and coming DJs, basically saying like, look, I've seen your event, would love to play at it, but we can't, we can't take everyone on. But we we're doing that. We're going to be doing a DJ competition. So that's going to give up and coming DJs an opportunity to prove themselves.
How will that work? They send you a mixtape, or
so we're gonna get them to post mixes publicly, and then kind of it's going to come down to like a short list of like whoever has the most plays, most likes, and whatnot, and then we're going to do a wee pop up event. Where we're going to invite all the DJs that we've shortlisted to play like half an hour sets or whatnot, and then we're going to kind of pick the winner.
Have you got a date for that?
We don't know.
Will that be in the Revolution?
So we were actually talking about a few different venues. I think we were actually maybe wanting to do it in Cool Runnings.
Sure. All right.
Just it's something different. We were going to do it in upstairs, but like, we were like, let's do something different. Why not? We were just waiting to hear back from the guy in Cool Runnings.
You should probably say to folk that aren't from the area that are listening, Cool Runnings, again, isn't some fancy venue.
No.
It's a Jamaican cafe.
Yeah.
Go.
So Ross Mackay, who I was talking about earlier on, he's been in touch with the guy. And apparently the guy was like really open to the idea. So we're just waiting to hear back for a date that suits him. But that'll be within the next month or so. So, yeah.
Excellent. But the Puls8 itself, right, it starts 2 PM.
Mm-hmm.
Is it one continuous sort of set? Like, it's not the type of music I listen to, but I do understand they're long tracks, and you have to get into the melody of it. You tell it, without saying spiritual, you got to let yourself sort of feel the music. It's not lyrics, and it's not. Does it start at 2 and just run, or is it going to be broken into blocks?
So the event, the event will just run from 2 until 11. Each DJ's set, they'll all be kind of unique to themselves. They are all kind of, unique to
their voice, if you like. I don't know.
Unique to kind of like their own genres. Like everyone knows kind of what to expect from each DJ. So I don't know. I guess you could say each set will kind of be like its own block, because like the DJs are different from each other. So it's not genre specific, I guess. So yeah, but it will just be continuous sets from 2 until 11.
Are you going to be there all day?
I will be. I'll probably need to be at the ice rink from early on in the morning.
5 in the morning.
Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be a long day, but it'll be worth it.
I can't picture it. I mean, obviously, you've not started setting up yet, but I'm just, when you said it was in the ice rink, I was like, on the ice. But you're going to transform the inside, you're going to get not decorate, but you're going to put the big screens up and stuff. Do you have to bring in contractors for that? I mean, how do you organise, coordinate? And it's just the 3 of you.
Yeah, it's just the 3 of us. So we've all kind of had our own like roles. We've obviously been having meetings throughout ourselves. So I've been organising all the bookings and DJs and whatnot. Phil's been mainly focusing on artwork type things, getting all the artwork and graphics sorted, and Ross has been sorting out the production side of things. So we've had a meeting with a company called Limelights. They do all the sound at Belladrum, all your kind of bigger events in Inverness, and I think they also go further afield in the UK. I think they're quite a well-established production kind of company. So we've had a meeting with the guy who runs them. So he's basically sent us over a quote for what we're going to be getting for the day, and then they organise kind of all the trucks and all the workers and stuff to set up. So yeah,
so it's a massive event that brings in loads of different folk.
Yeah. Sound techs, light techs and stuff. Yeah, so
and then without casting a negative shadow in the paper. There was recently a thing, the ice rink's closing. Where did that come from? Is that?
So that was kind of, I know, that was a bit of a shock to the system for us as well. You know, obviously it was kind of the last thing we wanted to see was the ice rinks looking for crowdfunding to stay open and whatnot, because you know that would be a serious loss. You know, if it was to shut. But I don't think that's you know, they're not needing it like imminently right now. I think they're more kind of planning ahead for the future. I'm not really sure of the ins and outs of it.
So they're going to be open when your thing's on, basically.
It's not going to be closed by the 7th of June. Put it that way.
No, because that's what it was. Because like, you know, we talk about this at work every now and again and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, you know, it's exciting. That's coming up, and then suddenly, bam, ice rink's closing. I'm like, does Drew know that's?
Yeah. Does he know it's closing?
A right-hand turn there.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. And I'm assuming they get something out of the ice rink. Are they hoping to bring in more ice skaters, or are they just gonna make money off the bar? Like, what's in it for them, basically? You know.
So they are taking all the bar.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So obviously, you know, as I say, we've already sold over 500 tickets. So you know, even if every person spends, I don't know, say like what, 20 quid.
That's all theirs.
Yeah, it's all theirs. So they'll be getting good revenue for the day.
As you said, it is going to be open, so it's happening. And touch wood, if it is successful and you do it again, where are you hoping to bring this? Where's this going to go? Is this the start of the new Inverness?
Yeah, so we're hoping that this first one will be a massive success, and you know, we're kind of looking to do it each year. We did speak about possibly doing a New Year's Eve event, but we're just going to see how the first one goes, and then you know, we're kind of looking to bring Puls8 to maybe other cities at some point. Okay. The likes of Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, all these kind of places. But just hoping to nail the first one. So
I suppose, but even by that, like, you've not limited. It's not called Puls8 Inverness. Like, Rockness is kind of limited to
where it can go.
Yeah. When you're saying you're looking at it, obviously you said you're not planning now, but when you said New Year, it's April. How long have you guys been planning this one? Like, what's the period this takes to get something of this size?
So when did we first start initially planning this? So I think like this has been, as I say, it's been in talks for ages. You know, like I first went to Gordon probably over 2 years ago now. But I think this actual Puls8 event probably been in the works since maybe like last June. But yeah, usually about a year in advance.
It's been pretty constant though, because you've been, like, again at work, you've been talking about it, so it's not just something that you've noodled at and slowly. You've been quite intense. You know, a lot of work. It's, genuinely, very admirable. It's a massive undertaking. I couldn't do anything like that. I can't even, you know,
thank you very much.
Organise my own shit. I can't imagine something of this scale. But you yourself, not self-indulgently, are you going to be performing at it, or are you just going to be an event organizer on the day?
So me and Phil have spoke about it, playing on the day. Phil, like, obviously, as I say, he specialises in hard style and raw style, so he's been trying to kind of convince me to do like a closing set after the Alex Farrell and the DJ I was speaking about. So he's playing currently he's playing the last set, but me and Phil Phil spoke about possibly closing on a hard style, raw style set, because it's definitely raw style and hard style is definitely getting bigger in Inverness. Quite a lot of people have been requesting it. Yeah. So we're just kind of, I don't know, I'm still like, I'm on the fence about it. I don't know what to do, but yeah, he's been trying
your name on the poster.
But I don't know, like, I think if we were to do that set, I'd probably just let Phil play. I don't really play more raw style, hard style kind of stuff, so I think I would just let Phil kind of do that on his own. So yeah, I'll probably just be there as you know, kind of organizing on the day.
Well, if you're there, you can always jump on or something.
Yeah.
Of course. And then can you... My astounding ignorance this whole thing. When I think of like live electronic music, I'm thinking of vinyl decks, but I'm assuming it's not vinyl. No,
not vinyl. It's all electronic.
So is that like a sort of synth and drum machine?
No. So we've got so you basically get CDJs. This is what you load your tracks onto. And then you get your mixer. So you get like Pioneer mixers, or there's a company called Zone. So yeah, we're gonna need to get Pioneer and Zone mixers in, because each DJ uses different mixers. So that'll be a kind of the setup on the day. But yeah, it'll be all done electronically. No vinyl.
No vinyl.
No vinyl.
Is that its own thing? Like, would you have to advertise a vinyl festival? Is that
No,
like,
not at all.
Okay.
I think some DJs specialise in vinyl, and I feel like if people are fans of the DJs, they'll know that they'll be doing a vinyl set.
Right, okay.
Sometimes, I don't know, you can maybe put next to their name like a wee open bracket vinyl set, close bracket.
Is that the equivalent of a band doing like an acoustic set? Is vinyl like a special, like, oh, they're going to do a vinyl set as well? Is that like a appeal to some folk?
Vinyl is definitely like such an impressive. It is. Oh, okay. It's super impressive to be able to mix vinyl. I've tried it myself. I think I've like out of all the mixes that I tried to do, I managed to get like one right, and like so to be able to do that in front of like thousands of people must be just like, I don't know. Obviously, when you're doing it every weekend, it probably does become second nature. But to learn it,
I know that there is a skill and an art form to it. It's not the case of just pressing play.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's what a lot of people see like DJing as now, and like electronic DJing is just like, oh, you just press play, blah blah blah. But there is actually a lot more to it that people probably don't look into. But yeah, because it's like, I don't know, I feel like, see, when you make a mistake when you're up DJing in front of people might not notice it, but you do, and like you're like, oh.
Yeah, no, because I won't name names, but there's been some folk at work, supervisor, sort of winding you up, saying, "Oh, it's just press and play, isn't it?" And of course it's not. But you yourself, performer, mixer, I don't know what you title it, DJ.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? Do you just buy the equipment one day? Yeah.
So as I said, like when just from going to events from when I was younger, I'd always been kind of wanting to get into it. I think actually, like from when we were like in school, I was always the one that was on the tunes on the speaker when me and my pals would go out drinking, like in the park and stuff like that. So I don't know if it was just kind of stemmed from that. Probably did. And then, like went to my first event, and then went to a few events, and then lockdown came, and I think just like a lot of other younger people did, I bought myself a pair of decks. Right. And just like practiced. When lockdown, we all got out of lockdown, all the restrictions and that kind of eased off. That was when I done my first event in the Tooth and Claw. Mm-hmm. So it was like 75 person capacity, and I think it did sell out, but I think it was like literally all just like my mates and stuff like that. But it was still good though. It was class, and then just kind of stemmed from there.
You're shooting yourself the first time.
Yeah, honestly, see the amount of mistakes, because like it's actually so different. You don't realise how different it is. See, from playing on like a little controller to going to using like all the actual professional equipment, and see if you don't download like your tracks correctly on like Record Box, the beat grids don't match, and the beat grids like move off kind of if you're playing a track. And that's when the tracks start to like clang together, and it just sounds horrible. So that happens a good few times when I played my first set.
So even though it is electronic and sort of like it is live and stuff, but there is a potential it could fall apart when you're doing it. It could totally unravel, and
and you get like tracks that don't load up, like waveforms can corrupt, and it can go wrong. I think, as I said, people do just think that it's a case of showing up the USB and you plug it in and it plays for you, but no, not at all.
Have you been out when that's happened to before? Like, can you notice?
You do. I've been to quite a few sets where like DJs have messed up. It's like it's part of DJing, like it happens. But I've been to a festival. I remember like when I was at Riverside Festival, and there was a DJ playing, and one of the files, I don't know what happened, but one of the files stopped working, and his track started jumping, like it's kind of started like repeating itself, and then it was a case of like just bring the music down, start playing another track. But like it's natural.
That's part of the live performance.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's part of the excitement.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Drew, thank you. I think I've asked you everything I've been nosy about there, so we'll bring it to an end. But just to summarise, if you can remind us, what's the event called? When's it on? Where is it on? Who will they see? And finally, where can they purchase a ticket, and how much would that be?
So the event is called Puls8, and it's being held on the 7th of June 2025 at the Inverness Ice Centre. And we've got headliners Lala, Yasmin Gardesi, Frazier and Alex Farrow. And tickets can be found on Skiddle through our Instagram page, or obviously on the Skiddle app. I think they're currently priced at £47.50 on the Phase 2 tickets, but they're starting to run low as well. So
get in while it's good.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put all the links in that below this anyway for the listeners, but
Perfect.
thank you very much. No, I do understand it's your day off, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Right, cool. And that was that. I hope you enjoyed, and I'd like to thank Drew again for his time. Really appreciated. Now, if you're interested in Puls8, I'm going to put all the links in this episode description. So, if it all goes to plan, they should be below. Now, the next part of this podcast, if you can see, there's still a little bit of time here. Drew not only gave up a chunk of his day off to come to my little flat here, but he's also, at my request, sent in a track of his own to see the episode off with. I'll wrap this up and get to it. So, as I say every episode, thank you to Blackmill for the theme tune. Thank you to Cora for the logo. Thank you both for your talents. And of course, thank you, dear listener, for your time. If you want to get in touch, you got anything to say, you got anything you'd like to hear, maybe read on the next episode, get in touch through the website, the link to which will be below the show here. Yeah. So let's get Drew's music lined up. So until next time, guys. Until next time. Look after yourself. Be good to each other. Don't take any shit. But just be good. Alright, I'll speak to you next time, guys. Bye for now.